Okay, so when I say tea, what's the first thing you picture? I'm guessing it's probably a cup of green tea, maybe some black tea, right? Well, today we are going way, way beyond that. We're going to explore a much older, more diverse world of plant-based drinks, a world where your cup of tea is also kind of your medicine cabinet. We're diving deep into this absolutely fascinating research paper about the traditional herbal teas in China's Guangxi region.
Now, just so we're all on the same page, everything you're about to hear comes straight from this one single study. You can see all the details right here. It was published in 2023 in the Journal of Ethnobiology and Ethnomedicine, which, by the way, is a super cool field that basically studies how people and plants interact. So think of this paper as our blueprint for today's deep dive. We're just following the data the researchers laid out.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with what herbal tea even means. Then we'll jump into the study itself, see what they discovered, check out the whole nature's pharmacy angle, meet some of the most important herbs, and wrap it all up with why this ancient knowledge really matters. Sound good? Let's do it.
Okay, first up, beyond the usual brew. Let's start with a really basic question. What actually makes it tea herbal?
So here's the fundamental difference, and it's a big one. You know all the standard teas, green, black, oolong, white, they all come from just one plant. One! Camellia sinensis. But herbal teas? Whoa, that's a whole different ball game. We're talking about hundreds of different plants, leaves, flowers, roots, you name it. And the biggest reason people drink them, it's often not just for the taste. It's for their therapeutic, health-promoting properties.
And here's the formal definition the researchers use, which really nails it. It's a water-based infusion or decoction. Basically, you're steeping or boiling plants, and it's used by local people for, well, everything. Nutrition, prevention, even treating specific health issues. It really is a drink, a tradition, and a medicine all rolled into one.
All right, now that we know what we're talking about, let's get into the specifics of this study. The researchers zeroed in on the Guangxi region in China. And why there? Well, it's kind of the perfect storm for a study like this. You've got this incredible biodiversity, tons of different plants, smacked right in the middle of a region with a really rich mix of different cultures and ethnic groups.
And just look at the work they put in. This wasn't a quick weekend trip. We're talking field surveys spanning from 2016 all the way to 2021. They got out there and talked to 463 people. Not just anyone either. They sought out farmers, vendors, and traditional healers. The real experts, you know. They went right to the source to capture all this amazing traditional knowledge.
So, that brings us to the really exciting part. What did they actually find? What does the herbal tea landscape in Guangxi look like?
Okay, get ready for this. The big number they found was 155. 155 different species of plants being used to make herbal tea, and that's just in this one region. I mean, that is just a staggering amount of local knowledge and biodiversity all wrapped up together.
And it's not just what plants they use, it's which parts of the plants. And the answer is pretty much everything. You can see leaves are the most popular at almost 28%. But look at this. They use the whole plant, branches and leaves together, flowers. Nothing goes to waste. It just shows this incredibly deep, holistic connection they have with their environment. So how do they actually make these teas? Well, the number one method is decoction, which is a fancy word for boiling. You boil the plant material to pull out all the good stuff. Simple enough. For more delicate things like flowers, a simple soak will do. But get this, I thought this was so cool. For some seeds, they'll actually stir-fry them before soaking them. It's a special step to unlock their properties. Amazing, right?
Okay, so why all the effort? Why these specific plants and preparations? Well, this is where we get into the heart of it all, the health benefits. This is basically a pharmacy in nature.
I mean, just look at this list. Clearing heat, detoxifying, improving circulation, helping with a cold. And that's just a few of them. The list we're looking at is just the tip of the iceberg. In total, the researchers documented 41 different health-promoting effects. 41! All based on knowledge passed down from generation to generation.
But if you look at the top uses, a pattern starts to emerge. The big ones are clearing heat and detoxifying. And the researchers make a great point here. This makes total sense when you think about where Guangxi is. It's got this hot, humid, subtropical climate. So for centuries, people have been using these plants to help their bodies cope with that heat and humidity. It's this beautiful example of traditional wisdom being perfectly adapted to the local environment.
Okay, so out of 155 plants, which ones are the true superstars? The researchers actually calculated which herbs were the most culturally significant. So Let's meet some of Guangxi's most valued herbs. And number 1 on the list might be a name you recognize, monk fruit. A lot of us know it now as a natural sweetener, right? But in Guangxi, its traditional fame comes from its power to clear heat and help the lungs. It was, without a doubt, the most culturally important plant they found.
Next up, we have Plantago asiatica. It's a pretty common herb, but don't let that fool you. It's super valued by the local people, especially for its diuretic effects and for soothing coughs.
Then there's Gynostemma pentaphyllum. It even has a nickname, Southern Ginseng. That should tell you how powerful people think it is. It's a go-to for detoxification and, you guessed it, for helping with coughs, a very common theme.
And let's not forget the white mulberry tree. Most people think of silkworms when they hear mulberry, but the leaves themselves are brewed into a tea. It's used for clearing heat, and also, I found this really interesting, for improving eyesight.
So we've seen the what, where, and how. But this brings us to the big so what question. Why does a study like this even matter? Why is it so important to document all of this? Because, this is way more than just an academic checklist.
The authors of the paper said it best. I want to read you this quote directly from their conclusion. Herbal tea is a valuable heritage that carries the local people's traditional knowledge, like healthcare and religious belief. It's not just a drink, it's a piece of their culture, their history, a living library.
And that really is the bigger picture here. We're talking about a core part of their cultural heritage. This knowledge could even be a source for local, sustainable economic growth. And writing it all down, documenting it like this, is absolutely crucial to protect it from being lost in our modern world. Plus, who knows what insights this kind of traditional practice holds for the rest of us.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. A study like this gives us this incredible window into such a rich tradition. But it also leaves us with a really important question. As our world gets more and more modern, how do we make sure that this kind of ancient wisdom doesn't just end up in a book on a shelf? How can we help it not only survive, but actually thrive for the next generation?